Unfortunately, I have to begin with an apology. So far we had a very sonorous, highly creative, highly sublime presentation. The whole program was in sonorous Kannada, and I am sorry to interrupt it by my English. So that's because of my helplessness, haplessness. Then, secondly, I am highly privileged to be here on this occasion and have these distinguished people in front of me, the honored guests of today's program, whom you saw on the dais, and the conclusion of the centennial celebrations organized by Niramaya. This has been a very, very sublime and highly creative program this evening. And I've been called upon at the end of it, which I will do in English. So we all know and we have heard today itself that yoga is Adhyatma Shastra. I want to highlight today on that aspect. At the outset, let me tell you, Adhyatma is not spirituality. And we should not also use the word spiritualism, because spiritualism has ism, and ism is a tainting factor. So spirituality can be used. Henceforth, it's my humble feeling that we should never use the word spiritualism, but spirituality. But Adhyatma cannot be rendered as spirituality. Adhyatma must be maintained as Adhyatma. The moment we say Adhyatma, it's a tripartite constitution. Adhyatma is the principle behind the creation. It's a substrate, underlying principle behind the whole creation of divinity and the archetypal mind. The moment we accept something as Adhyatma, we need to also accept the other two aspects which go hand in hand with it, that is Adi Bhautika and Adi Daivika. The scheme of creation has been Adi Bhautika manifestation, Adi Daivika constitution, and Adhyatmic Adhishthana. So Adi Bhautika Avishkara, Adi Daivika Sangatana, Adhyatmic Adhishthana. This is the principle behind creation. So when we say Adhyatma, we must also accept the other two aspects which are integrated with it. I would suggest you look into the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which defines Adibhuta, Adidaiva, Adhyatmika, and Gita's unique contribution by way of Adiyagnya. Adiyagnya is also a concept which is introduced in Bhagavad Gita. So we must have some idea about all the three aspects, namely Adibhautika, Adidaivika, Adhyatmika. Adibhautika is something that is appearing, disappearing, comes, manifests and demanifests, comes and goes, doesn't stay, and constantly having mutation, constantly having transformations, constantly having changes, transformations, vicissitudes. That is how the Adibhautika aspect is to be understood. Today we consider science such as physics as Bhautika Shastra. That is Bhautika Shastra. Whereas philosophy speaks of Adibhautika. Adibhautika, Adidaivika, Adhyatmika. There is a prefix by way of Adi. So we should not confuse, we should not say that science such as physics deals with Adibhautika. It deals with Bhautika, not Adibhautika. In Bhautika, there are the 5 elements, Mahabhutas. Again the word Adibhuta, Adibhautika, there is a Bhuta word. Bhuta there are 5, Prithvi, Ap, Tej, Vayu, Akash. That is not the subject matter of physics. That is the subject of metaphysics. Whereas the physics is physics, not metaphysics. And physics deals with what is called as quintuplicated matter. Pancha Mahabhutas come together and we have these manifestations which are visible manifestations, tangible manifestations. The word Adibhuta, you know another meaning of the Bhuta is a ghost. Ghost cannot be seen, but the acts of the ghosts can be experienced. So these Pancha Mahabhutas are great ghosts, and there are 5. Therefore they are not visible objects. They cannot be seen, they cannot be sighted, they cannot be experienced by psychosensory process. Whereas physics deals with something which can be grasped, sensed, perceived with our psychosensory faculties. So we should not confuse between Bhautika and Adibhautika. Bhautika is quintuplicated matter of 5 elements. If you look into Panchikarana of Vedanta, it will tell you about how the Panchikarana takes place. The sky above the head is not Akash Mahabhut. A glass of water or this bottle doesn't contain up tattva. It is only 50% up and 50% is shared by other 4 elements. The Akasha above the head is only 50% Akash Mahabhut, and then rest of the 50%, 12.5 is shared by other elements such as up, Tej, Vayu and Prithvi. So Vedanta explains Panchikarana where only 50% element is there in ocean, which is water, in the sky, which is Akasha, and the Prithvi, what is under our feet, is not Prithvi Tattva. It is only 50% Prithvi Tattva, and 12.5 is shared by other four. They come together and that's why they become manifest. You can see the earth, you can see the sky above the head. You can see the fire, you can see the flame, you can see water. So these are all Bhautika. Whereas here reference is to Adi Bhautika. Now again in the modern science we have this classification which is in fact little faulty. We say something about terrestrial and extraterrestrial. Terrestrial and celestial. We say earth is terrestrial. Is really the earth terrestrial? How did the earth come about? They say, according to modern science, there was a Big Bang. And then after Big Bang, stars and various bodies of the heavens came and Prithvi was one of it. That means Prithvi has come from space just as any star, any planet, other planets have come from space. So actually this is not terrestrial, it is all celestial. So philosophy will tell you about this, that there is nothing like terrestrial. Everything is solar energy on the planet. Now sun is celestial. How come you say solar energy is terrestrial? So all manifestations on the planet are celestial. Earth itself is celestial. If you are inhabited on Mars, you will consider Earth as celestial. If you are on Moon, if you are on Venus, Earth becomes celestial. So it's a relative concept. So the whole creation manifests, which is Adi Bhautika. And then it is constituted by Adi Daivika. That means constituent of the terrestrial earth is celestial. So constituted should be celestial. If the constituents are celestial, the constituted should be celestial. So this is the view that the metaphysics gives you. Physics will not give you, metaphysics will give you. Adi Daivika are celestial forces which in the Vedism are considered as devatas. Agni Devata, Vayu Devata. Everything is a Devata. Jala Devata. Vana Devata. So these are celestial forces. And Atma, which is immanent in entire creation, from every single atom, particle to we ourselves, we have Atma. So we are constitution of Adidaivic, Adhyatmic, Adibhautic aspects. And philosophy and yoga will tell you about this as what is Adibhautic in us, what is Adidaivic in us, and what is Adhyatmic in us. What is Adhyatma? 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Svabhavo Adhyatma Uchyate. Svabhava. Now, in our common man's parlance, we use the word Svabhava. That means nature and character. Somebody is angry in nature, somebody is passionate in nature, somebody is compassionate in nature, etc. etc. We are not referring, that is not the reference to that swabhava. This is swabhava. In vernacular, we have the usage of word swabhava. And we describe different people's swabhava or different objects and their swabhava. But the reference here is to swabhava. What is that? Swabhava means essential nature of any object is its swabhava. See, you and me have a swabhava. And then we describe somebody angry in nature, somebody intelligent, somebody stupid, somebody crazy, somebody cranky, somebody sensible, somebody insensible. But how will you describe nature of water? Do you say this is a cranky water, or this is stupid water, or intelligent water, or angry water? Swabhava. Whatever its essential nature is its adhyatma. So swabhavo adhyatma uchyate. Of any object, any padartha, anything, whatever is the essential nature of it. Our natures such as angry, crazy, cranky, stupid, wise are not our essential natures. These are incidental conditions. Incidentally we are of that nature, incidentally we are angry, etc. etc. That's not our essential nature. So what is our swabhava? I will give you an example of state of dreamless sleep. In dreamless sleep, you exist. Or do you cease to exist? No. You don't cease to exist. You exist. What is your nature then? Are you man? Are you woman? Are you young? Are you old? Are you healthy? Are you unhealthy? Are you saintly? Are you brutally? None of these. But we merely exist. So in dreamless sleep, we merely exist without any delimitations such as class, caste, creed, race, gender, age, status, stature. Nothing of that sort exists. So we can be without all the delimitations which are called upadhi in Vedanta. That is our swarupa. I sleep, you sleep, a brute sleeps, a saint sleeps. We are all levelized in the state of sleep. Because our swabhava is identical. That is our adhyatma. What is the adi bhautik in us? There is ever-changing conditions. We are changing moment to moment. We are changing, we are aging moment to moment. We don't just age on our birthdays. We don't age on our birthdays. We are aging moment to moment to moment to moment incessantly. So there is a constant change taking place in us. What is Adi Bhautika in us? The Nama Rupa. That's the important characteristic of Adi Bhuta. It has name, Nama and Rupa. Name and form. Name and form are attachments to us. While in a dreamless sleep, we don't have Nama Rupa. Yet we exist. So Adi Bhautika or Adi Bhuta in us is that which is changing. The body matter, ever changing flux. Mind matter, ever changing flux. Constantly changing. Constantly becoming suitable to conditions or becoming unsuitable to conditions. When it becomes unsuitable, we have a problem. When it becomes suitable to conditions, we don't have much difficulties. So, Adibhautika thing is one which adopts. It goes on adopting to conditions. The conditions are changing. Our time and space is changing. According to physics, we are never in the same time and space once again. We are constantly moving in time and space. We can never come back. We cannot retrieve anything that is gone past time and space. So there is the Adibhautik aspect in us, which is why we are going through various changes and transformations, adaptations. We adapt to so many conditions, so many situations. That is the Adibhautika aspect, and it has all name and form, such as angry nature, passionate nature, sincere nature, cranky nature. They all have names and they all have forms. But in state of sleep, what happens? Nothing of that, yet we exist. Then there is Adidaivic aspect. Behind our Sharirendriyas, organs of body, organs of mind, organs of speech, there are deities. Celestial forces are behind it. If you look into Lagurudra, you will know how different deities are residing behind different senses. Suvada Upanishad or Lagurudra describes 14 organs. 5 of the body conative, 5 of the mind cognitive, and 4 of the internal organ. Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. So 5 plus 5 plus 4, 14. There are 14 deities residing in us. Every organ, such as the eyes and ears, they are a marvel. Eyes are not cameras, ears are not tape recorders. There is a marvel if you look into, study the senses and appreciate the marvel behind the senses. They are not mechanical devices. We are not given tape recorders, 2 tape recorders in the 2 ears or 2 cameras in the 2 eyes. And similarly the case of all the rest of the 3 organs, sensory organs. They are a marvel by themselves. We need to appreciate that. It is because these are celestial forces. So Sharirendriyas, organs of body, Manasendriyas, organs of mind, and Vagendriya. We are given human body, manifestation is given Vagendriya. There are so many organs behind speech organ. See, the mind can know so many things. Mind can know so many things. But the speech cannot be knowing so many things. You can't be speaking on all those subject matters which the mind knows. So sometimes I put this question to practitioners in yoga. I say you can be doing a session of 2 hours and 3 hours and etc. etc. You can do 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of yoga in a day perhaps. Can you come and take a mic and speak for 2, 3, 4 hours on yoga? Your mind can think on yoga. We all think on so many subjects, from anatomy to politics to whatnot. Mind knows so many things about all those various subjects. But when it comes to speech, we can't be speaking on every subject. So we are endowed with a Vagendriya. So if you look into Adhyatma, Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikhari, It's a beautiful description which comes on Adhyatma Shastra. It's not just oral organ. I cannot speak what I know. There are so many things I cannot speak at all, although I know. Love, like the case of love. You can love someone, but can you really make expression of your love? It is beyond words. So there are celestial forces behind that and Adhyatmic substrate because of which our embodiment is a marvel. And yoga will induct you to these aspects. I am referring to classical yoga, not popular yoga. Popular yoga is only for your health, well-being, feel fine, feel good. That's the popular yoga. But if you are a student of classical yoga, you will be made familiar with this manifestation where there are Adibodhik, Adidaivik, Adhyatmic aspects. So yoga speaks about something called as esoteric anatomy physiology. The one you get in grey anatomy is exoteric anatomy physiology. But there is something called esoteric anatomy physiology. We are not aware of it. See, we all are given hands. What do we do with our arms and hands? We do some acts. This is called as prehensory organ. Hands are called as prehensory organ which work for give and take. And then we do so many things with our hands. Anatomy will describe about your arms, hands. Neurology will describe about it. How the hands are conducted by ulnar, radial, medial nerves. We do not have much understanding about our hand. But if you show your hand to a palmist, he will tell you so many things about your past, so many things about your future. We can't look at our own hand and tell us about our own past, our own future. That means the hands are something whereby a palmist can read what is your face for you. You can stand in front of the mirror and know what your face is. But if you stand in front of a face reader, what will he read? What will he read? Face reader. He will tell you about your own nature. He will tell you about your past. He will tell you about your future. He will tell you about your present, perhaps which you may not be knowing. How does it see? How does it tell you about your face by looking at your face? How does the palmist tells you about all that by looking at your palm? We have no idea. We are just using the hands for give and take, for mundane activity, worldly activity. So many esoteric aspects. Why there are such lines on the hands? Exoteric physiology will not tell you. There is something esoteric because different people have different kinds of lines on the palms. They have something to signify. We know something about the forehead. We know something about the frontal lobe of the brain. There are lobes of the brain: frontal, parietal, occipital, temporal. We know the forehead. But we also point at the forehead for our fate. This is my fate. That means there is something behind the forehead, in the forehead, of which the frontal lobe has no clue. Parietal lobe has no clue. Occipital lobe has no clue. Temporal lobes have no clue. So we say, nan karma. What is that karma? Where is the karma? That means it is an archive. It's an archive of our past karmas. So, even the asanas will tell you about some esoteric aspects, not so deeper, but even peripheral. Say in English we have the expression, one should shoulder responsibilities. Why one should shoulder the responsibilities? Why not someone leg the responsibility, hand the responsibility? Why shoulder the responsibility? What is typical of the shoulder? Because the shoulder is holding the most cranky part of our anatomy, the brain. It must be very responsible to be holding the brain above it. That is why the head is kept above the shoulders. To be handling this very unscrupulous, very cranky, very unpredictable brain. And that's why perhaps in English that expression has come, to be shouldering the responsibilities, because the shoulders shoulder the responsibility of carrying the head over it. You will never see a person like this and you say, he's a dejected person. Crestfallen person, that means shoulders drooping, sternum caving in. So your yoga teachers will tell you, open your chest, open your sternum, lift your sternum, and that gives you a positivity. That means this is a consciousness organ. Shoulders are consciousness organs. Shoulder blades. For anatomy, shoulder blades are there to support the lungs, they say. If the shoulder blades are excised, removed, the lungs collapse. But in your yoga classes, you have often heard this expression, shoulder blades in. The moment you stick in your shoulder blades, you become alert. They are shoulder blades. They are not shoulder plates. See again the coincidence by fluke. English language has the word shoulder blade and not shoulder plate. Blade, how do you handle it? If it is the blade, how do you handle it? Are you casual in handling a blade? You become alert when you handle a blade. So they are shoulder blades. So by fluke, English has such expressions. Shoulder blades will make you alert. Stick out your shoulder blades, you will not get that intent, diligence, advertence. You stick in the shoulder blades, you get alerticity, you are alert. That's why your yoga teachers often tell you about shoulder blades in, shoulder blades in. It is because of that particular esoteric caliber of the shoulder blades. So that's a very gross kind of information about esoteric aspects of the embodiment. It's clearly ocean depth to understand esoteric physiology, esoteric anatomy. But just I gave you few examples where any part of the body have reference to consciousness, functions of consciousness, manifestation of consciousness, state of consciousness. So there is some adidaivic aspect, extra human aspects in some parts of the body, all parts of the body as a matter of fact. There are adidaivic aspects. So when you speak or when you declare, when you hold, when you posit, yoga is adhyatma, you must also try to understand what is adibhautik and what is adidaivic as well. Merely embracing adhyatma won't work. So that's the definition in Bhagavad Gita, Svabhavo Adhyatma Uchyate. Svabhavaha is Adhyatma. Again, what is Adhyatma in Bhagavad Gita? 13th chapter. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam Etat jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yadodonyataha. Yat ataha anyaha ajnanam. What is really jnana? Adhyatma jnana is only jnana. Adhyatma jnana nityartham tattva jnanartha darshanam. Tattva jnanam. Now, tattva jnana again loosely translated. We say, this is my principle, this is my tattva jnana, that is his principle, his tattva jnana. No, it's not principle. This is in vernacular we are used to this. This is my principle life. This is nam tattva jnana. This is my principle life, and somebody else will say, this is my principle life. It is not principle. It is tattva jnana. Tat. What is tat? Tat Tomasi. What is tat? He, that. Tattva. That means the verb suffix is for profusion, like jalatva, jadatva, agnitva. When you use this suffix, it shows profusion. Jala and jalatva. Jalatva is profusion. Jala is a matter. Agni and agnitva. Agni is a matter. Tva suffix means profusion. So the knowledge of tattva, tattvatva, thatness. So you cannot be atheistic tattva jnani. You can be atheistic philosopher. You understand? You can be atheistic philosopher, but not atheistic tattva jnani. Because in tattva jnani you are admitting tat. You accept tat. You accept that. And thatness. And darshanam, tattva jnanartha darshanam. For the purpose of tattva jnana, it gives you a vision, envisionment, revelation, realization, that is darshana. Our philosophies are called darshanas. Darshanas are not philosophies. They are only sophies. But here, darshana, revelation, realization, that is adhyatma. That is only jnana, according to Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter. Rest all is ajnana. We are making so many pursuits of knowledge these days, is in fact pursuit of ajnana. I go to school, I go to college, I go to university. I spend 20, 30, 40 years in academics. It is just to earn, acquire ajnanam. Worldly knowledge, mundane knowledge, business of life knowledge, it's all ajnanam. Ajnanam yadadonyatha. Yataha ataha anyaha sa ajnanam. So we are all displaying our degrees, which are nothing but ajnana degrees. We, the chancellors and vice chancellors of the university, accord you degree in ajnana. Actually, adhyatma jnana is only jnana. Adhyatma is not just, Dev, believing in God, going to temple. That's not adhyatma. That's not adhyatma. What is adhyatma within us? What is the adhyatma in any matter in front of me? Inquiry into the essential characteristic or essential nature of an object at sight, or object imagined, or object perceived, or object inferred, or extrapolated, because everything cannot be seen in the world. We have to infer. So going to the essential nature of the object and the essential nature of oneself is adhyatma. So yoga will be a process to explore one's own nature. It is an inwardly journey. It's an internalizing process, inwardly journey for internal revelation about oneself. I won't do yoga to know you. You will not do yoga for knowing me. I will do yoga for knowing myself. You will do yoga for knowing yourself. And that's why yoga is Adhyatma Shastra, because you are going for a self-inquiry. What is my essential nature? Not the transitory or incidental nature. See, I am Prashanth Iyengar, which is an incidental thing. I happen to be son of Yogacharya B.K. Iyengar, therefore in this life, I am Prashanth Iyengar. It's an incidental thing. I am not essentially that, because in last life, I was not B.K. Iyengar's son. Nor B.K. Iyengar was my father. So it is something incidental, it is something transitory, it's actually a bubble. Our life of 80, 90, 100 years is actually bubble on the, if you take the scale of time, which is endless, beginningless. So Adhyatma is a self-inquiry. Now what are we? We are body, mind, senses, breath, etc., etc. Now if you remove all those things from me, it might be cessation of my existence. That's why the Adi Bhautika is so much important, Adi Daivika is so much important, because if you remove body from me, if you remove all body organs from me, if you remove all sensory organs from me, if you remove all the mind organs from me, if you remove all speech organs from me, if you remove all Adi Bhautik, all 5 elements from me, you remove all celestial aspects from me, you remove it. It's almost amounts to non-existence. Although there is no non-existence from which is eternally existing, soul is indestructible. So, in Adhyatma we must know Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, Adhyatmic, their constitution, how they are intermingled, how they are constituted. This is what is going for yoga. Now what is Adhyatma Sadhana? See, we are made up of me and mine. In English, you have I, me and mine. In vernacular, we have Nanu, Nandu. My body, my mind, my senses, my organs, my consciousness, my psyche are all mine. I am not that. They are for me, they are all mine. Now in our worldly activity, we will invariably find that there is something extraneous to you in your being, in your becoming, in your activity. Now as I am giving a speech, I have my mind, I have my intelligence, I have my body, I have my oral organ, but this is not mine. Microphone is not mine, amplifiers are not mine, the lights are not mine, but see, we have to depend on all these extraneous things to carry out this function. So I am reading a book, book is extraneous. I am studying a book, book is extraneous. I am working on computer, laptop, that is extraneous. Although you might say this is my computer, it is not really intrinsically yours. It is only your possession. Your laptop is not intrinsically yours. As much as your eyes are intrinsically yours, your mind is intrinsically yours, your intelligence is intrinsically yours. Your laptop computer is not intrinsically yours. That's an extraneous factor. So try to analyze any activity of your business of life. There are extraneous factors. on which you have to depend are indispensable. For me to be here and doing this is indispensable. This is indispensable. Electricity is indispensable. And I take recourse to all that. So take any activity. I am eating food. The food is not you. You eat your own arm and part of the body and say, I am eating my food. The food is extraneous. Of course, when you eat it, it becomes you. See, this is water. I cannot say this is my water. It is extraneous. But suppose I open it and I drink it. Water has become me. Water has become me. See, human embodiment is a marvel. You eat banana, it becomes you. You eat potato, it becomes you. You drink water, milk, it becomes you. This will become me, and you also know that I am male. A woman takes the same water, water will become a woman. So once the water goes into me, it becomes mine, it becomes me as well. The food that you eat, it becomes your food and it becomes you. When it is assimilated, digested, it becomes you. If it doesn't become you, then it is not assimilated, digested, and then it will become poison in you. You will have to vomit it. So this is a marvelous kind of God-made, nature-given apparatus. It is not a mechanical device. Like a car, you will have to put only petrol or diesel or whatever its engine. The car doesn't say, oh, I am fed up with petrol, today give me 10 liters of tea or 10 liters of coffee. It will not run. Whereas, look at this machine. It can eat anything. It can perhaps even eat nonsense. And see the convertibility. Appreciate the catalytic converter within. Because most of the nasty things that we eat, they become ourselves. Only in rare cases, not accepted, it is rejected and then vomit, etc. Or it remains in the body and then becomes a foul matter and it becomes disease for you. Otherwise, we have a catalytic converter. Now what is the Adhyatma Sadhana? In Adhyatma Sadhana, you are using yourself to be doing something on yourself, for yourself, by yourself, with yourself. And the best way of doing Adhyatma Sadhana is yoga. Because you are using your own body, mind, breath, senses, organs, psyche, consciousness, everything intrinsically yours. You and intrinsically yours. And therefore that becomes Adhyatma Sadhana. You don't have to depend on extraneous things so much. They might there be to assist you, but you don't have to become dependent. If you become dependent, if they become indispensable for you, then it won't be Adhyatma Sadhana. So body, mind, breath, senses, when they come together, they totally transform the matters. And they work, they interact with each other. So in asanas, you should do something on you, with yours and you, for yours and for you. Where is the extraneous factor? That is Adhyatma Sadhana. And that's why yoga will tell you about what is Adhyatma Sadhana. That is why every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyānaṁ Yoga Shastre Krishnarjuna Samvade Prathamodhyaya Dvitiyodhyaya Ashtadashodhyaya Yoga Shastre. It is the only Yoga Shastra. I am not referring to yoga. I am referring to yoga. Because today what we get in the world is all yoga. But if you are a student of classical yoga subject, then it is yoga. And that's why every precept of Bhagavad Gita is Yoga Shastra. Where one is required to work on oneself, by oneself, with oneself, for oneself. That is the characteristic of Adhyatma Sadhana. Now in our business of life, today we have a concept, and very well known concept, very familiar concept, very prevalent concept, BPO. Business Processes Outsourced. This BPO is not new business. Even our ancestors, see, when we are holding a job somewhere, what are we doing? We are selling our intelligence, we are selling our physical capacity, mental capacity, intellectual capacity. We are selling it and getting remunerated. So we are selling ourselves in mundanity of life. If I am holding a job somewhere and if I am an efficient worker and if I am well remunerated there, why for? Because I am lending my intelligence, my skill, my ability, my capacities, whatever. So I am outsourcing my abilities, and in return I get my remunerations. So business of life is nothing but outsourcing physical capacity, physical skill, physical power, prowess, mental intellectual powers, prowess. We are only outsourcing. This is the business of life. In yoga, if you are going to use intelligence, you are going to invest your own intelligence in yourself, with yourself, for yourself, by yourself. No outsourcing. If you are going to invest your mind, you are going to invest the mind for you, for yours, by yours, for yours, with yours, on, or, on, in, for, by, in, with. Everything integral to you. So yoga will tell you about Adhyatma Sadhana. How our aspects interact within ourselves for our own purpose. Then that is Adhyatma Sadhana. Now try to have a thought process here. How yoga is Adhyatma Sadhana. How it can be Adhyatma Sadhana. This will perhaps reform your approach to subject, your practice. Suppose I am teaching you in the class, as a teacher, I will use my willpower for your benefit. Is that right? I will use my intellectual power for your benefit. I will use my physical, mental, intellectual faculty aspects for your benefit. If I do it on myself, I turn them towards myself. That's why the Adhyatma Shastra tells you, again 13th chapter, this is called Kshetra. 13th chapter, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga Yoga. So this, my embodiment, is a Kshetra. Kshetra has different connotations. starting from field to what we call as Tirtha Kshetra. Who am I? Who am I? Myself? Am I Kshetrapal? Am I Kshetrastha, residing in the Kshetra? Am I a resident of the Kshetra? Am I owner of the Kshetra? Am I Swami, master of the Kshetra? No. Kshetragnya. I am supposed to be knower of the embodiment, not the user of the embodiment. We are all using our embodiment. We are all using our bodies and minds. This is what the mundanity teaches us, and that's the delusion, that's the Maya, which will make us use our body, use our mind, use our senses, use our faculties, become users. Whereas in Adhyatma, you have to make it, you have to be Kshetragnya. My subjective entity must be knower of the field, not the user of the field, not the abuser, misuser of the field, not the seller of the field, whereas we are selling our field in Maya. Maya subsumed this creation, nature. So Adhyatma tells you, you are a Kshetragnya, you have to know it. Gnya, to know. I am supposed to be knowing this. Knowing my physical, gross, subtle, mental embodiment. That is the Kshetra, Kshetragnya, Vibhaga, Yoga chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which mentions about Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, Tattva Jnana Sadarshanam, Etad Jnanam iti Proktam, Ajnanam Yadadonyata. That is Adhyatma. That is Adhyatmic sadhana. That's why in Upanishad you get know thyself. Know thyself is not standing in front of full-size mirror, not going for whole body scan, not going for whole body and brain scan. What is the chance that you will know? Your physicians will know by looking at your scans, MRIs, those what you call images, radiologists, pathologists, they will know about your embodiment. Whereas in Adhyatmic process, you know thyself is not go to a diagnostic center. It is not suggesting going to a diagnostic center and having a thorough checkup and reports of every single thing, from your anatomy physiology to cellular physiology or metabolism, etc. Know thyself. It needs Adhyatma sadhana. So if the Vedanta speaks of this, know thyself. That is the most important precept of Adhyatma, not spirituality. Because spirituality doesn't at all circumscribe Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik. That's why I'm telling you, I said right at the beginning, don't use the English word here. Adhyatma must be Adhyatma. Because Adhyatma implies the tripartite constitution, the weave of Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, Adhyatmic. And yoga is the best way for one's own inquiry, one's own revelation. Adhyatma reveals yourself. You will not reveal yourself by looking into Upanishads, looking into Brahma Sutras and then having hair-splitting arguments in Brahma Sutras. That will not reveal you. It's an internal journey. And yoga is the way. That's why yoga is Adhyatma. I think that should be sufficient. Within one go, Anything much more than this could be a digestive problem. Let us not overeat. Thank you for your patience. Finally, once again, express my gratitude for the wonderful gathering, wonderful event, very, very aesthetic, very highly creative and highly sublime. So, last point I will tell you, yoga requires an atmosphere, sublime atmosphere, sanctity, purity, piety, sanctity, sublimity, not technical perfection. It needs that atmosphere, ambience of purity, piety, sanctity. Thank you.